Hello everyone, and welcome back to NINJAGOCast. The dojo is now open, and I am your sensei, LJ.
I'm Sakota.
I'm Josh.
And why the heck did that computer sound interject? No computer sound, you're not a host. In any case, we are joined today by a very special guest. It is none other than BendoBricks.
Hello.
Woo! Party.
Party! How's everyone doing today?
You know what? We're doing all right, I think.
Do you think?
Sometimes.
Let's go with that,
Sometimes?
yeah.
Good enough. Good enough.
Alrighty. This is actually a lot sooner than our last one. Like, our last one, there's a pretty lengthy period of time between recordings, but now, this one, last one was only like a week or so-ish? Something like
I
that?
think like 2 weeks.
I mean, that's what happens when stuff comes out.
Yeah, that's a great point. Again,
Things are happening.
I still think
Crazy.
that there's always plenty of stuff to talk about with Ninjago. It's just sometimes finding, like, the time and the motivation to just sit down and talk about it. But I digress. We are joined by a very special guest today, and Bendo, you reached out to us after our gosh, what's the way of putting it? Our request for people to reach out, and then I promptly didn't respond for a month.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm so sorry, but thank you for reaching out and being here today.
Mhm.
If you would, introduce yourself, kind of talk a little bit about what you do and where people can find you at. Not physically,
Yeah.
but like digitally.
This is- so I'm BendoBricks. I've been lurking in the Ninjago community for a very long time. I've been watching the show since the very beginning. But I decided around a year ago that I kind of wanted to pitch in, give my discussion into the community. And, you know, I'd been around on the Ninjago YouTube community for a while, tuning into stuff like NINJAGOCast and some other channels at the time. And I was like, I really like what's been going on in certain spaces like NINJAGOCast with the discussion. And I thought, you know, I want to start bringing some more in-depth discussion to the community, start making some videos about it, and that's kind of what I've been doing. So over on my channel, BendoBricks, I've been making a Ninjago video essays covering various topics, both the good and the bad. And yeah, you can also find me on Twitter over at BendoBricks as well.
Excellent. Links to those will be in the description below. Definitely encourage everyone go check him out. He's got a fantastic video essay on Crystallized, which is definitely something we should probably talk a little bit about, you know, before we get into our main subject for today. To kind of summarize, what did you think of Crystallized?
That is a very complicated question. I did spend a very large portion of time creating an over hour-long video essay, as you mentioned, discussing it, and honestly, it was very, very disappointing, to be honest, and I don't think that's necessarily a rare opinion to have, but I think more so than most, I really just feel like the entirety of that season as a whole is just, it's got so many issues that is honestly fascinating to go through and unpack. But overall, just tremendously disappointing on a bunch of different levels. And it's unfortunate. Like, that, it's not something that I wanted to be saying after it concluded, but that's just genuinely how I feel about it. There are good aspects, but they are mostly overshadowed by the negative aspects, as I touched on in my video. So, yeah.
I feel like we all agree, pretty much, more or less.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a source of, I don't even want to say controversy, because I don't even think that properly conveys where everyone stands on the series right now. And
Yeah, it's just in a rough spot. I mean, there are people who enjoy Crystallized, and there are people who hate it probably more than me. So,
Mm-hmm.
you got a wide range of opinions on it, but I have yet to see really any actual major controversy with it, like we've seen in the past with
Mm-hmm.
other seasons. It's just kind of everyone's just kind of accepted how it is and is trying to move on.
Yeah. I think one of the worst new things that has happened since Crystallized came out, because obviously it came out in October, it's been over 6 months since it released, and people have had time to kind of absorb it, take in community feedback, take in creator feedback. We had the last spin with Tom Andreasen back in, I still think that was October.
November.
November? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the end of
Think so.
November.
Gotcha. And I think one of the worst things I've seen happen since is how people have retroactively gone back and have been like, man, maybe Hands of Time wasn't so bad.
Oh, dude, that reminds me. I had a tweet that was pretty much like if I need to make a video like trashing this season, I will.
Please.
And some people took that seriously and got really upset.
Please. I
It
mean,
was-
apparently it's necessary.
I
I mean,
I will say it's like Crystallized to me. There are aspects that show promise, but overall it's kind of a disaster. But yeah, I just thought that was really funny as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think there are very different problems with Hands of Time versus Crystallized. I feel like
Yeah.
in Crystallized, the execution, like animation and stuff like that, voice acting is great, but there's like some fundamental problems with the stories. While in like Hands of Time, the fundamental story is nothing too crazy, but like not too awful either. But there's just some like very weird dialogue choices, some very weird animation stuff
Mm-hmm.
So
that kind of like
it's so strange.
sours it. Yeah.
Yeah. And with people going back on like different seasons, I will say that since Crystallized, I have looked back on seasons that I already loved and have gained new appreciation for them. And I don't know if that's because Crystallized like soured the franchise so much, or if it's because I'm going back and like rediscovering new things I never noticed. But I will say that it has been easier for me to go back since and just after a long time start to find the reasons why I love the show so much in some of the older seasons that I've always loved.
Mm-hmm.
I
always
personally
good.
appreciate March of the Oni a lot more now.
Oh man, yes.
I have seen that. I've seen a lot of people saying that.
It still has some issues. The whole cold death fake out thing was very like over dramatized. Is that a word? I don't know.
Yeah, over
But
dramatized.
I don't know. I feel like the seeing how Crystallized kind of tried to conclude Ninjago as a whole. I kind of feel like March of the Oni did it better.
hmm
I would agree Marcioni did it better. I don't think I still would have been satisfied with that as an
Yeah.
ending to the entire
Yeah.
show.
Probably not.
But it is, yeah, it's leagues better than what we ended up getting. So
Yeah, I haven't seen March of the Oni in a while. I was part of a rewatch about a year or so back, or just like right before Crystallized, and we got right to March of the Oni. We finished Hunted. March of the Oni was next, and then I got super busy with things, and then Crystallized happened. I was like, the wind has been taken out of my sails. I cannot do it. I can't watch anymore right now. And that's where my rewatch stopped. But I remember not being terribly fond of it because it was lauded as this ending, and I wasn't satisfied with a lot of the decisions that day. I can't talk. I'm trying to like do something else while I talk, but I wasn't satisfied with a lot of the decisions that they made, and it bothers me. But now I don't know how I would react to it. Like, maybe it is better than I thought. Maybe I was too harsh on it. I don't know. Let me see. Okay. I'm trying to find the United photos that are on IMDb, because it turns out IMDb doesn't want you to save them.
hmm
It's just like, haha, no.
You know, find them on Twitter.
If you could,
I
that'd be
can
wonderful.
Probably find them.
I'll go find them.
Yeah, IMDb has them like highest quality, but it won't actually let me like I go to right click it and it's like no. So in any case, I figure we should probably move on if you guys are satisfied, unless there's anything else you want to say about kind of previous Ninjago before we move on to the future.
Ben, what's your favorite season?
That has changed a lot over time. I will say, currently, I think it's Sons of Garmadon.
Okay, that first one is Sonic. That's not Ninjago. Right?
Yeah,
No, wrong chat.
one of those sound.
But yeah, I think my favorite season is Sons of Garmadon, but it changes a lot. For a while, when like Seabound came out, that was my favorite season for a bit. There was a stage where Skybound was my favorite. I have since realized a lot of the flaws of that season. I still love the development that Jay went through, even though it might as well have never happened, considering how his character has been handled recently. But I think Sons of Garmadon is my current favorite, but that can definitely change.
That's a good choice.
Unfortunately, as good of a choice as that is, in this dojo we do not tolerate slander against Skybound, so we're gonna have to kill you.
You know, I should
no.
have known that. I should have
Yeah.
known that walking
Yeah.
in.
You should have.
It's crazy how much my opinions on Skybound have changed, though, because I used to absolutely like adore that season, and like I said, it was my favorite. I just feel like upon a bunch of rewatches, I've just found more and more things about it that I'm like, maybe that's not as good as I remember it being. But then like I still love it, and I especially have like a bunch of nostalgia for it too, so that probably helps.
Mm-hmm.
I still think Skybound's a fantastic season.
Correct.
It's just
No,
it's been it's been bumped down from my favorite, is all I'll say.
Unironically, though, the Jin have become like my favorite part of Ninjago.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the fact that Nadakon is in it, like it bumps it up for me.
Nadakon is so good.
Yeah,
Such
He's
an
such a
amazing
good
villain.
he's up there with the best.
I just wish his wish powers made more sense, but that's a discussion
True.
for a whole other.
Yeah,
So that's a big, yeah.
That's like a completely different discussion that you could get into.
That's something I can talk about for a long time.
Skybound in
probably-
general,
we could do a Skybound episode. That would be fun.
that would be
Yeah.
crazy.
we could do.
There's so much to unpack with that season.
I kind of want to do what we're doing over on Knack and Jay over on the TTV channel, and kind of have like an episode per season, like per year, and just kind of talk about the encapsulating stuff going on that year. I think that would be a lot of fun.
You could
That
call
would
it
be
Deck
great.
and Sock,
Call what?
or Sock and Deck. I don't know.
Okay, listen here, you.
Dakota.
We're taking over. No.
The idea scrap now. No. Benda, do you have a least favorite season? I don't want to be presumptive, considering how things are now.
Probably Crystallized.
All right, yeah, that's
Worse than Hands of
Probably
Time.
Crystallized. I think because of its effect on the show and how disappointed I was. Yes, production-wise, no. Like Hands of Time was a far worse produced season. I think Hands of Time genuinely had a more solid plot, though. Honestly, I think Crystallized, it had the potential to have an amazing story, and it just, I don't know. I feel like the way it turned out, Crystallized would be worse than Hands of Time. Yes,
brutal.
at least in the aspects of the show that I enjoy most. You definitely can make an argument either way. I think.
Yeah, I can see that. It has problems in very different ways.
Yeah, that's what's so hard about comparing them, is because like
Yeah.
it really is hard to say which is worse, like objectively. I mean, obviously you can't really say anything objectively.
I think it's
About-
also kind of like bigger they are, harder they fall.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was so
Yeah,
much more hyped, I guess, than.
Crystallized had so much more to live up to and so much more to do.
Mhm.
And also that might change considering going into the new series. Like if the new series is really good despite the problems Crystallized had, then maybe it's a different story. Maybe I would be like, okay, Hands of Time is worse. But if the new series is like not great because of a bunch of the flaws of Crystallized, then I would still probably consider it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends.
That's
Yeah,
reasonable.
that's just how I'm feeling currently.
No, that's fair. I think it's kind of interesting because Crystallized a little bit suffered from what I think that March of the Oni suffered from, which was the high expectation of it being what it was. And because
Yeah.
March of the Oni was lauded as like, oh boy, Ninjago is ending. One will fall, one will lose, and like stuff like that. And
I will always say this: the posters soured the expectations for March of the Oni a lot.
Yes, 100%. I think as nice of an idea as that was, I feel like it misrepresented what March of the Oni was trying to be.
Yeah, it gave people just wrong expectations.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But
Yeah. I would say though with Crystallized and March of the Oni, they both have a lot of issues that despite their hype and like I guess fan service like wants, like for example with Oni Lloyd, like that's obviously a story that a lot of fans want to see. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to dive too far into it because I know it's a whole other discussion, but it's something that fans want to see, of course, but it's not bad because they didn't do it because it's like the fans wanted to see it. It's like fundamentally from a storytelling point of view, just like building up something like that over the course of your story only to not do it is just unsatisfying. No matter how hyped up it is within the community, it's just kind of unsatisfying to have a story like that play out, especially when it doesn't like match with how you would expect the themes of the season to go.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the big thing. It was the story felt like it betrayed the core tenets of Ninjago, and it felt like it just basically spit in the face of what they were very clearly trying to build up to.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was so blatantly obvious.
And especially if you have something that is like the fans really want to see, you have to live up to expectations. Otherwise, it might be smarter not to give the fans that thing.
Yeah. And like if they didn't want to do the Oni Lloyd thing, like they didn't have to. Like
Yeah,
they could have just
exactly.
not set it up if they didn't want to actually do it.
I mean, it can also be a thing from like the toys, and we have to include it in the show somehow. But yeah.
But there was like such a good way to. They showed that they knew how to do it. They just they didn't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's just it's baffling to me. It's really confusing.
Yeah. All right. In that case, if there isn't anything else that you guys would like to touch on very briefly before we move on to our main topic point for today? No? All right. In that case, I want to give everyone a heads up warning. So I'm going to do some plugs right here in case anyone wants to just bow out for a little while. We are going to be discussing the latest installment in the Ninjago story, which of course is Ninjago Quest for the Lost Powers. This has been confirmed as a canon installment. It is a canon novel. It is canon to the show. It's confirmed over on Twitter by, oh heavens, what is his
Tommy
name?
Kalmar. Tommy Kalmar.
Tommy Kalmar. Thank you so much. Actually, he was responding to you, Sakota, when he confirmed it.
Yeah, but he also confirmed it again in another tweet.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
So this is canon to the story. We are going to be discussing spoilers. We have a non-spoiler review here on the channel. Keep the peace. We'll go ahead and get a link for that in just a moment. But if you are trying to hold out, if you may not have gotten the novel yet, and you're waiting until it gets to you, go ahead, bow out now, and if you are desperate, there's our non-spoiler review. But until then, we are going to go ahead and discuss spoilers from here on out. So that being the case, if you're bowing out, thank you so much for watching. This is NinJAGOcast on Keep the Peace. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get updated when new uploads come out. We have set reviews, podcasts, discussions, a whole slew of things, let's plays, reacts, and we're going to be ramping things up in the future. So hopefully we'll have even more content that you can come back and enjoy. Make sure to also follow us over on Twitter at the TTV channel, maybe a temporary Twitter name, and go ahead and check out our special guest, BendoBricks. Links will be in the description below. Okay, for everyone else that is still here, let's go ahead and talk about Ninjago Quest for the Lost Powers. So starting things off, I think, would you guys like to discuss some of the stuff on Twitter that Tommy Andreasen has been saying that relates to this novel? Would you like to talk about the novel first?
Probably the novel first, and then...
Yeah, I think that's smarter.
Okay, beautiful. If you guys didn't have a preference, I was going to say novel. So, let's go ahead and talk about the chapters individually. We'll go ahead and start with, of course, the first one, Kai's. Kai's story starts off with him just kind of being a slob, hanging around Chen's noodle house, talking to Skylar, being a nuisance. Some furries come in, they mess up the place, they beat him, and Kai's like, I gotta get my firepower back. Well, he hears that there are these folks that are under siege by these folks that love fire. Oh, perfect, let's go over there. We should be able to find my fire. I'm pretty sure that Fire Fang is over there, the giant snake that Asphira rode that somehow is still alive. So, him and Skylar suit up, get in a tuk-tuk, head on out to the middle of friggin' nowhere, find the village, tell them, hey, don't worry, we got you. Heads on over to this cult compound, find Fire Fang, antics ensue. Kai gets his firepower back after being a complete jerk to Skylar, because that's at the core of being the fire ninja. They beat / Fire Fang gets away, and they ride off away from the sunset. How did you guys feel about Kai's story?
Luckily, it's the only, like, bad one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's definitely my least favorite out of the four. I think a big part of that is the problems I generally had with Kai as a character in his recent years, where he's mostly characterized through making like not good decisions and not listening to his teammates and being upset about losing his powers, and those are like his only characteristics. So you could say, yeah, the chapter is very consistent with his character in the show, but I don't like what they're doing with Kai recently.
I can see where they're going. Like, I can see where, like, what they were trying to go for. The idea that, like, Kai is the one who wants to be the hero, and like he wants to be the main character in the situation. And the fact that he like wants to do this himself, he doesn't want any help. I can understand that, but I think the way they kind of went around it with him being like a jerk to Skylar is not great.
Yeah. I kept being reminded of that one scene in the pilots where Kai, before having any character development, is they're like trying to get the Scythe of Quakes, and Kai just keeps on going without them. Every time like Kai abandoned like Skylar, or Kai went off to do something without Skylar, it reminded me of that, which I don't think is a good thing when we're all the way, we're post-crystallized, and he's acting like pre-character development pilot version of himself.
Yeah.
So it feels like this chapter was ripped straight out of like, besides the fact that Skylar and Firefang are there, it was like ripped out of straight like pilot era. You know, I feel like this book would have came out. It's
also very much repeating the fire chapter. Like you have Firefang again, you have the Kai losing his powers plot. Someone has to remind him he can be great without powers. Then he has to learn teamwork, and then he gets his powers back. It's kind of like his whole story in the fire chapter, even with like kind of the same villain. So
and the pilots,
it just feels it feels repetitive.
Like how many? One of my notes says like how many times can Kai lose his powers and be sad about it?
Yeah. I wrote the same thing, basically. Um, why would Fire Fang still be there? Is that something we have any idea about?
Everything's just
I
chilling.
like the idea that it's like an undead version of the Anacondrae, like the big Anacondrae snake.
But
But
why
like,
is there still
but,
firepower?
I don't know.
Because like even in the book, in the end, they go like, wait, I wrote the quote from the book. Um, why did it disappear? We may never know.
Is it implied that Firefang just like slithered away like in season 11 at any
I
random
think
point?
so.
Like after the last appearance on screen?
Okay, I have to bring this up now, LJ, even though you asked us if we want to talk about the book first. But Tommy posted these like early, I guess, drafts for these stories. And even that was like, yeah, Firefang didn't like die like the rest of the snake mummies.
Mhm.
And instead she went into the pyramid in that like early draft version of the story. But I don't think there was ever like a, a satisfying explanation why Firefang wouldn't lose the power.
Yeah, no, it confuses me. But let me see. Skylanders fan 69 says in the YouTube chat, to be fair, Asphira's troops never go out when she's frozen, so I don't see why Firefang wouldn't. And I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea if that's true or not. I haven't seen season 11 in a while.
Tommy confirmed on Twitter that after Asphira lost the firepower, all the mummies went back to being dead.
Oh,
Um,
that's
I
Strange
the
that
thing
that
the,
wasn't
the
shown.
thing is, Firefang isn't a mummy, I guess, like the others. So maybe that works differently. I mean, there could be thousands of like explanations. Maybe like
Also,
Firefang went to that fireplace and was able to keep absorbing firepower or something, whatever. It doesn't really bother me that much,
I
but
mean,
it's kind of
also
weird.
another thing is that the pyro snake, like the other one, the medium sized ones are like sentient. So
Yeah.
I don't know. There's like a difference between those two of them.
yeah, that's rough. That's that's kind of difficult. I don't know, and I feel like not knowing is more of an issue of. It's kind of an issue of using Firefang because it is so vague and misunderstood, and at the same time, it is kind of clever because we just don't know enough, and that allows Firefang to slot in. You know what I mean?
We may never know. Um, but yeah, it doesn't really bother me. It's there could be an explanation. Does there really have to be one? It's kind of something you think about when you read it, but does it really matter? Not that much.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's not too big of a problem for me. I think the Kai being so upset and angry towards Skylar is the bigger problem in the chapter.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Kai was. I don't know if abusive is quite the right way of describing it, but
No.
wow, he was just a complete jerk.
Yep.
And I don't know. Okay, two things. First of all, I don't know what Skylar sees in him. I don't know if this is a hashtag I can fix him moment. But also,
Oh, no.
At the end of the novel, when they have like the glossary, they go down. Skylar.
They say she's his girlfriend, right?
Yep,
They
here we go.
confirmed
Skylar
it
Chen.
for the
At the
first
very
time.
end, it's like she rebelled against her father to become an ally of the ninja, and now Kai's girlfriend. Well, that's great.
I feel like Show Skylar would have just been like, okay, I'm done with you. I'm like this.
See, that's the thing.
I feel like, especially like Tournament of Elements Skylar, like she would not have put up with him during that. I don't know.
I don't know, because I agree that Tournament of Elements Skylar would not. But we've seen
maybe
Skylar in
post-crystallized.
post-crystallized. Crystallized Skylar seems to not be fine with it, but will tolerate it, and has now tolerated it twice.
I also feel like with having Skylar there, which I think is great, you could have told a very different story about like because Skylar knows all about like losing powers, right? Because it's inherent to her powers that she loses the ones she absorbs. So there could have been like a nice lesson she directly teaches Kai, but it was more of like you have to do teamwork. You can't do everything alone, which we've seen a bunch of times.
Yeah, it was just strange. I don't know why they made Kai just so like mean, and also just yeah, I really just don't like how they characterized him, and I feel like the way they even wrote Skylar was a bit out of character. Not necessarily how she acted, but I mean, I guess like going along with Kai that much, having that much patience, but
Yeah, she was
also
like
just some of the dialogue just didn't feel like stuff Skylar would say necessarily.
Tyler was like very friendly, and normally she's more like I don't know, cocky maybe, or but that wasn't really a big problem for me. Like Skylar's portrayal.
Yeah, I just found it a tad
personally.
weird.
Yeah. One thing that was kind of I don't know, was it in the beginning of this chapter or in like the prologue? They mentioned that Nia was still the water ninja and using her Samurai X mech, which I found kind of interesting. And they also mentioned that Lloyd was training something.
Yeah, no, like, I guess Lloyd is still at the monastery with Wu. They're still being ninja, doing their thing. And everyone else who lost their powers and didn't get them back is now doing this.
I wonder if Nia's like Samurai X with water powers at that point in time, basically.
We don't actually find out in this book. Yeah,
not really. No, they just mention that she has her powers and that she uses her Samurai X mech from Crystallized, I guess, which blew up. So they must have repaired that.
Yeah, which I mean that makes sense, unless she's using the combo mech.
Maybe, or a different Samurai X mech. Yeah.
All in all, though, I think we can agree that Kai's chapter was certifiably the worst, and it's not even that it was poorly written, nor is it even that it was written in a way that doesn't resemble the show, which is kind of part of the problem. It's that Kai is not a protagonist that you can get behind. He was rude, he was a jerk. This story did not service him well in any way. It did basically the opposite. It reinforced something that has been reinforced, I think, multiple times in the past, specifically with Kai, and in a way almost undermines his story in Season 11 in the Fire chapter, because we're repeating it. It means that he didn't learn from that, and considering some of the meta stuff pertaining to the characters involved in that specific story, that does bother me a bit.
Yeah. Kai's such a weird character because he had such a basic like plot in the pilots, and even like with Garmadon and Rise of the Snakes and like saving Lloyd, and then after that they just kind of stopped, and you can't really do anything with him past that. Like he learned not to be arrogant. He learned not to be selfish.
I'm still semi-mad at Season 11 for not having him be the main character of the Ice chapter, because that would have been the perfect way to characterize him.
Yeah. But I think we even discussed that when the Ice chapter was airing, that it should have been Kai to go after Zane.
Yeah, because, Kai's the guy who, like, he doesn't really have a plan. He just goes in fist first and beats the crap out of whatever's in his way, but he can't do that if it's his friend, so he has to learn another way. It would have been a great characterization for him, but like I said, he can be done well. It's just he can be written well.
I think there's a bigger problem with Kai's character, and I don't really blame the book as much because like you can't really start a whole new character arc for Kai in like a supplementary book short story. Um, I think that it's more of a problem with what they've done with Kai in the last years in general than like with this book specifically, but they kind of just repeat things we've seen before.
Yeah, I don't really know where you go with him. I
Yeah.
know where you could go places with him. Crystallized, like, had a really good, like, foundation with him, like, kind of, like, with the whole line where he's like, some bad guys don't play fair, so he's not gonna hold back and all that kind of stuff. Like, that was such a
Yeah.
good idea.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like that's the most recent instance of just, like, such a genuinely good idea for something for Kai to go through. But like when you don't have that, when you don't have like any stakes attached to it, when you're starting from pretty much the status quo, square one, I don't really know what else they would have done,
Yeah.
but I feel like at the very least they could have characterized him a tad differently,
Hmm.
even if the story was generic.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I kind of thought of, like, not about this like particular chapter, but kind of as a whole, is that like every time something bad happens to the ninja, they all just kind of disband. They've done it 3 times so far.
Mhm.
It's like I can understand the first 2 times because like one of your teammates in quotes died, um, and so I can see how they would want to like distance themselves from that. But like this is basically just saying that they're nothing without their powers. Like as soon as they lose their powers, all of them are just like, well, can't save the city anymore, can't do anything, gotta go,
Yeah.
gotta, it's, I feel like it should have, I don't know, I feel like the setup should have been that they were like at the monastery trying to find ways of getting their powers back, but they should have been like at the monastery and not like,
That's what I kind of
Kai
expected.
leaving for a while and then like getting an apartment and hanging out at Chen's Noodles and all that for whoever knows how long it's been.
I think it would have been less of a problem because I also found it kind of weird that they like all split up just because they lost their powers. But I was like, okay, maybe they're doing like some soul searching, they have some time off. But they also mentioned in the Kai chapter that like crime was on the rise since the ninja are gone, and I feel like the ninja we know they would stick together even without powers if crime is on the rise again, I guess.
Yeah. I definitely feel like this whole narrative of the ninja losing their powers and feeling disenfranchised as a whole really brings down some of the earlier seasons. Like, don't get me wrong, they got upset that they lost their powers all the time. However,
Yeah.
it didn't like completely destroy their morale to do what they want to do. They stuck together, they still did things. They trained friggin' Lloyd. It was just
They lose their powers most seasons.
oh
Yeah.
I don't know like why it's an issue now. Like in Possession, they lost their powers, but I guess like Lloyd was on the line there, so I don't know. It's just strange.
Yeah. All right. So unless you guys have anything else, I will touch on the whole. You mentioned it earlier, Sakota, the Tommy tweet
Yeah.
thread, the multiple tweets he's made. So a few days ago, Tom Andreasen, former head of the Ninjago story team, he tweeted saying, I just happened upon a document called Ninjago Reconnect. I had forgotten all about it, but it looks like the idea was repurposed into the Quest for Lost Powers book. I haven't read the book myself, but that is the case. Very cool. Something came of it. I presume he means if that is the case, that this was what became Quest for Lost Powers. That's cool.
Mhm.
And I think the biggest takeaway is that he intended for these to be 4 5-minute long short films. And he posts the independent stories. And by and large, I'll go ahead and link all of them individually as we kind of talk about things. So I'll go ahead and link Kai's in the YouTube live chat and here in the Patreon chat. I mean, it's more or less what this
They're
story
pretty
was.
close to what we got. Yeah, in like the major story outline, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know if this would work as a 5-minute story.
I think what he mentioned is like they would be 5-minute shorts that kind of tease a longer story, which would be in a book or comic.
Yeah,
Is
that
what,
was it.
what he said.
Oh, okay.
So
It was
it would never
essentially
have like the shorts would kind of be an advertisement or like a teaser for the full story,
That makes way more
which
sense.
I think
That's fair.
that could have worked. I feel like honestly, I don't know if the community would have liked that.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. Because some people were very upset that this is in a book already, and like if they got like a teaser but find out the rest of the story in the book, I don't know. I think some people would have liked that even less.
I can
so-
just see people now being like, "You had the budget for these shorts, but you didn't just make the full episodes.
Yeah.
Do
We
you
only had the
even
budget for-
care?"
No, I think the one positive I can think about this is that like it would have done great with advertising.
Yeah.
People would like watch. People would be more attracted, I guess, to the shorts, and then they would know after that. Yeah, there's like written material that they have to read now instead of kind of if the new series comes out and like they have powers and everybody's like, oh, what happened? And then, not a lot of people are gonna know about this book, I guess.
Have they ever
Yeah.
have they advertised it at all?
The
like,
book?
And it's like the book anywhere.
I mean,
Like I
depends
haven't
on-
seen. The only reason I know about it is because I am within the community. I feel like if I wasn't, I wouldn't even know it existed.
I don't know.
Amit has done some advertising on their like channels and stuff, but I don't think there's any TV or YouTube advertising or anything like that. But I wouldn't expect that either.
Yeah,
for
I wouldn't
Lego book.
expect-
They never
yeah.
really do that.
Yeah.
Do they? They don't even have the book on Lego.com. Lego Shop at Home.
No,
That's
Hmm.
interesting.
they very rarely have any of them of the Amit
Ah.
books.
Because I'm looking now, and
They like just recently got the Garmadon books, right?
I mean,
Like
comic,
not
yeah.
recent the comics, but not recently,
Yeah.
but
the volume 1
It's been out for a
is
while.
there. It's been out since the Bionicle Gift with Purchase was out, so
Yeah,
January, February. They also have
Yeah.
Book of Elemental Powers was listed. It's out of stock now. The visual.
they have some, but they never have Spinjitzu Brothers or anything like that
Yeah,
on
they do. I'm looking at them
Lego.com.
right now.
Really? Oh, maybe it's different in the US.
That might be. They have Lair
Or
of
do they-
Tanabrax, Curse of the Cat-Eye Jewel, which is hot garbage, and Maze of the Sphinx. So, yeah, and they're all
have
for
promo?
sale actually.
Dang.
So hopefully they'll put them up there eventually.
Yeah, then I could see it.
And also, I want to clarify. I'm not saying that the writing for Curse of the Sphinx is garbage. I'm not saying it's a bad book. It's just a
You
personal
mean Cat Eye
thing.
Jewel?
It's just a personal thing because of the cat person. That's all. It's
You mean Cat
probably a fine book, and if you like the book, that is perfectly fine. I'm just screwing around. Just to clarify. 'cause
Did you read the book,
Okay.
LJ?
I,
Don't
yes,
diss
yes, I have.
Sphinx.
Okay.
Sphinx was a great book.
The Sphinx one is really good. That's my favorite.
I haven't read that one. I've
Read it.
not
We
read-
should talk about it.
Yeah.
I should probably
good.
get these books at some point, to be honest.
Chroma was probably my favorite, I think.
Really?
I still prefer the Sphinx one, but Chroma was fun.
Okay, we'll have to discuss that one at some point. I know that there's another one coming out at some point, but I don't think there's a release
Yeah.
date.
We don't have anything on that yet, but it's supposed to come out this year.
Fair enough.
But yeah. What?
All right. So,
Oh yeah, we were talking about like the 5-minute short thing, right?
yes.
And it like being a teaser. Tommy also mentioned in like the introduction to these that those shorts would reuse a lot of assets from the Wild Brain season, which is, for example, I think probably why they have Firefang and spoiler the Ice Emperor and stuff like that, and Unagami in other chapters. And I feel like that might also inform, like, even though it didn't end up being animated shorts, why those elements are in the book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that makes sense, and it's all right, I guess. I don't know. The whole situation is just kind of a mess because no matter what, I'm not aware of any Ninjago fans that wanted us to retread this territory and focus on the ninja trying to get their powers back. Like, you'll hear the conversation go, this shouldn't be in a book, this should be in the show. And then you'll hear someone say, it shouldn't be at all. That's it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there are things in these stories, especially the Zane one, that I really want to see in some way or form.
that is fair.
So
That's true.
I'm glad we got something that had that story.
Mhm.
I didn't need the finding the powers again, but if finding the powers again led to other stuff I want to see, I'm fine with it.
I feel like that's a good segue as any, unless anyone else has anything to add pertaining to Kai's story.
No.
No.
All right. In that case, that is a good place to transition into Zane's story, which is next in line. Zane's story starts off, he is hanging out with Pixel, trying to be like, hey, I gotta get my powers back. Can you help me out? Pixel's like, abso-freaking-lutely. Let's go into your memories. So they go into his memories, and he's like, hey, I'm in my memories. Hey, Dad. Oh, you're dead. All right. Ooh, look, I'm surfing on the snow. I'm fighting this thing. I'm a hero. Was I always a hero? Ah! And then he comes back. He wakes up. He's like, oh, I don't want to do that again. I'm going to go and not drown. So he goes and he finds a cold lake, jumps in it. Woo's not there. Meditates. And then up, conveniently, the system that Pixel programmed to help him hack into his memories kicks up remotely. And he's back in his memories. And he's going through all sorts of different adventures. And Ice Emperor, oh no, Pixel, get me out of here. So he goes back, hangs out with Pixel. Pixel hooks him up. He goes back into his memories and figures everything out and finds out, hey, I was a tyrant. And that's okay. I forgive me. And he gets his powers back.
I don't think that's exactly how it happened, but close enough.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if he went back, but
I don't think he went back.
I can't. I swear he at one point. I'll double check. But in any case, what do you guys think about this one?
Best one.
That's the best one. Yeah,
Handedly.
by far.
I liked it a lot. I don't know how I'd rank them, but I do. It's definitely near the top for sure.
Also, he did go back. Page 87, the beginning of
Oh, did he?
chapter 5.
Ah, dang. Okay.
It's all right. Boom. Gotcha, Josh. No.
Dang.
this-
You caught me. I haven't read the book.
I knew it.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, I have a few thoughts. I'm glad that they finally resolved the Ice Emperor thing. It's weird that they did it in a book, but I'm happy that we're getting it.
I think, and I've seen a lot of people be very upset that it's been resolved in a book. I personally think that they probably would have never done it if not in a book.
I mean, fair enough.
Because I think it's way too much of an introspection story than what they would do in the show usually.
They chose funny noir Zane
Yeah.
antics in Prime
They
Empire over
chose
this,
funny
so-
noir Zane, or they chose making funny goofs with the Ice Emperor and Crystallized.
making a person who's done pretty terrible things
Yeah.
a joke.
Another little detail in this is that I was always unhappy with how they explained his turning in the Ice chapter with
Yes.
they had the whole corruption angle all set up and ready to go, and then they went with the memory wipe thing instead. And I like how this sort of not really retcons that, but sort of kind of recontextualizes it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that without his memories, he
Was
even without
more
his memories, he
easily
was still
corrupted.
himself. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was.
I
Like,
have
a
in
mix
my-
of- Oh, you go.
I have a note that I took, which is, we finally understand the secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu. Because, in the season Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu, they kind of imply that the scroll turns you evil, but we never really like see that because like the way Zane turns evil is by Vex lying to him.
Mhm.
But in the book, we finally see, okay, it's the scroll that manipulates him too, that like pushes him towards being evil. And that was never like, we don't really see that clearly in the show.
Real quick, to everyone in chats, I posted the Zane synopsis that Tommy posted on Twitter. So, yeah, this is a rough one because this definitely makes the book, in my opinion. I think that this is the best one. This is what we had been asking for a very long time. Like, especially our cries got loudest when friggin' like this dictatorial monster is just joking around in a backpack slung over Pixel's shoulder. Like, I am a clown. It's like,
Send
are
them
you
to the dungeon.
Are you friggin' kidding me? This is exactly what we wanted. It went exactly the way we were hoping it would, and I think it has a poignant message that I don't personally see a lot in media, especially children's media. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself so that you can move forward. That is a powerful message to send. I think that is excellent, especially for Zane. Zane is the only one that you can do that with. Absolutely great. And I agree though. I agree with Sakota. I don't know if that could be done in the show.
I mean, I think Krusty mentioned in the YouTube chat like they had introspective episodes in season 4 in the past and stuff like that. And I could see that. I just couldn't see a story like that in the 10-minute Wild Brain format.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a bit of like the sad state that happened after the shift to the 10-minute episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But I get what like I just it doesn't you couldn't do an 10-minute episode with action and funny jokes and have this story, I guess.
I think if they substitute the new Arzane episode for it, then yes. But
that would feel so weird in the
that
season.
would feel random.
Yeah.
So and also the new Arzane episode is important because it moves the plot forward with them finding like Melton Dyer. So yeah, I don't know where they would have even found the time to do it. So I think the show could have tackled it if they had the time, but since they didn't have the time,
I know where they
there was
could
just nowhere
tackle
else to put it.
That's a conversation for another day.
Well, what is?
I think
I was saying I have an idea of where they could put it, but that's a conversation for another time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and people would argue they could have put it in Crystallized, but in my opinion, it would have also felt out of place, even if they did decide, oh, we're gonna tackle this right now in Crystallized in the middle of the Crystal Apocalypse. Yeah, they could have done it, but
they could have done it well in Crystallized, tying it into the whole benefit of grief, turning off the emotions thing. But it was very clear they already had way too much to do in Crystallized.
Yeah. And that's why I'm like, yeah, maybe the ship has sailed at that point. But I still don't like how they handled it.
Yeah.
It would have been better to just ignore it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But yeah, I did like the story. I will say I really enjoyed seeing like the flashback again of like Zane initially getting his memory wiped, and then just seeing what he did like after that.
Yeah. That was
kind of
super interesting.
It was really wholesome. I really enjoyed that.
Because we also never had any idea what he did like in that time before being found by Wu, I guess.
Yeah.
Also, something I wasn't sure, but I took a note. Is this the first like full-on confirmation we got that Zane got his powers given to him by the Master of Ice? Because like in the flashback scene in Sons of Garmadon, they just say like the Master of Ice paid him a visit, and then he's been very different.
I think they were implying that that's what happened.
Yeah,
it's so heavily.
But I think here it's like they outright say it basically in the book.
Yeah, I guess this will be the first actual confirmation of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, and I can't think of anything that 100% confirms it, so Yeah, outside of this.
Zane's
Also
past is
the
just such a
first-
weird thing.
Isn't this also the first
Yeah.
time that it confirmed that Skylar's last name was Chen? Because I know that was like a headcanon with a lot
yeah.
of people for a
I
long
mean,
time, but it was never like confirmed.
what else would it be, right?
I mean, Chen could have been his first name.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably like Garmadon.
I mean, fair enough.
Garmadon.
Yeah.
Chen.
Mario.
Mario.
His first name is Super.
Yeah. No, this is a really good one. I really like this one. It's
Yeah.
I think if I personally were to rank them all, there is a space between the runner-up and this one is how good I feel this one is.
I agree. I've been very vocal on NinjagoCast that I want some kind of resolution for the Ice Emperor story. And while I think there could have been done more with it, and while I think it's a bit late to address it now, I still think for what the book can do, they did it very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I agree. I 100% agree. Does anyone else have anything to add? Anything they want to say?
I just really like seeing more about Zane's past. I think that's just really
Yeah.
cool. And I hope they do that more in the future. I think the state that Zane's in, like, before he becomes a ninja is just so fascinating. Just like,
Yeah.
there's like a sense of just like innocence and like wonder.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that would be really like interesting to like explore. Just that version of his character that we never really got to see much.
Yeah. I think when they turned Zane into a robot, it was a very cool twist, and I think they did a lot with it. But there is this kind of like Zane pre that twist somehow is a very special character too,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always cool to get more of that in some way.
Yeah.
All right. In that case, unless there's anything else, we'll go ahead and move on to the next story. All right. Next up. What's up?
Oh yeah, I'm good to move on.
Cool,
That's
cool.
what I was about to say.
No, you're good. Next up is Cole. So Cole's story starts off with Lou, Cole's father, showing up to a random farm that he knew the location of. He finds Cole. Cole is a farmer now. And personally speaking, having done farming before, I don't know why he would choose to do this. My farming was even way more advanced than this. I had giant metal pipes. They were irrigation pipes. They went across the field. They were all motorized. I didn't have to deal with a giant yak. Okay, anyway. So Lou shows up. He's like, "Hey, Cole, I'm your father. I was touring, and I decided to stop by. How are you doing?" Cole's like, "Oh, I'm doing great. I'm bruised. Don't, just, literally, it's not, okay, anyway. So Lou decides to hang around, just see how his son is doing. Cole's like, "I'm just trying to reconnect with the earth, which is why I'm here. Also, meet all these town folk. I feel so at home. Also, these other farmers are attacking. Turns out there's a nearby farmer who's trying to buy all the land around this farm, and this farm is refusing to sell their land, so the other farmer is really angry about it. So he attacks them with war tractors. So Cole has been trying desperately to fight against them and losing pretty severely because he doesn't have his powers, and it's Cole. And Lou is like, we got to figure out something, kid. Like, what do we do here? So what they do is they teach the entire town to fight. They get ready and start battling against the big bad mega owner of the farm, Takanagi. Takanagi shows up and is like, "Hey, I'm designed like a minifigure from the 90s ninja wave. That's kind of cool. Also, give me your farm or I'll kill you all." He didn't say that exactly. But so antics ensue. Cole gets his powers back. They manage to beat everyone. Takanagi is like, and I'm done. Sells everything. Happy ending for all. Lou and Cole beat feet. And that's the end. So,
I like this one too.
It's fine. Yeah. This isn't
Yeah.
a bad story. I don't know, maybe it's just a me thing at this point. Maybe there's no changing it. I didn't get anything from this story that was like so definitively Cole. It did kind of retread on story beats that we were familiar with in the past, like Cole and his family and his mother. It wasn't bad. It didn't undermine anything, but I know I also don't think I'm gonna remember it going forward.
I've seen people like the Cole fans be very happy about the story. I personally also find it like I'm a bit neutral on it. It didn't like do crazy amounts of character development, but it also nothing, no problems. I liked it. I had fun with it. But yeah, so I think it's overall a good story.
Going in, I wasn't really sure because earlier in the book they like mentioned how Cole was on a farm, and I was like, okay, that's really random. But I think honestly, I feel like it doesn't do much to like expand on Cole as a character. I actually do really enjoy the situation he's put in because it kind of harkens back to what they do a lot with Cole in the show, putting him with like a group of side characters and having him kind of like form a family with them and just like have that kind of bond and then using that to kind of inspire them. And I think that's just really fitting for Cole because it's happened so much in the show. Just having him kind of like form that bond with the group, inspire them, and that's like the way that they defeat the enemy in the end. So I think for Cole it's fitting. I like the stuff with his mom. I like it's strange to me because it feels a lot like the core shorts with the balance stuff.
It's true.
And the fact that that one core short had that really random like could be canon flashback with Lou and Lily, yeah. So it was like it kind of fit in the realm of that for some reason to me. But I think overall it was very fitting for his character. I think it was surprisingly a good fit to have that be his story.
There are two things I really liked a lot about it, which is on one hand the backstory with Lily, with her being on missions and like missing out on Cole's childhood, I guess. That ties well into the Mother Earth comic and like the stuff we've seen in Master of the Mountain, with her also being like a ninja and going on missions and stuff like that. And I feel like there was some, I guess, off-screen character development for Lou. He's like the very supportive dad now, if you compare him to his first appearances in the show, which I found pretty great.
It makes me really question, like, obviously they didn't have this in mind when writing that initial Lou episode, like the Royal Blacksmiths.
Yeah.
But it does make his like actions like you could kind of be like, oh, he doesn't want Cole to be a ninja because he's like worried that he'll get in danger and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think if you watch the episode as it is, it's obvious that wasn't the idea. It really does seem like he just hates the ninja for some reason. It's really strange, but I think like obviously you can't really do too much with that because they wrote that way before they even thought about like Cole's mom being the Master of Earth, or I guess being like a ninja in the same way Cole is now.
Yeah.
I think it was interesting how this kind of expanded a little more on what Cole's mom did, because they even mention at one point she saves Ninjago. And so it really does seem like Lily was a big-time ninja. Like, she was a very active fighting force, which is not the impression that I got from Master of the Mountain, which I just thought that was interesting.
I mean, she beat Griefbringer and Unite, like, helped the Geckos and Months. And, like, the Mother Earth comic, which is supposed to be canon, but has a bunch of contradictions in that she, like, literally works for Wu and goes on missions fighting Serpentine and stuff like that.
Also, I'm not certain how the timeline works out exactly, but with like the Serpentine Wars, is there a reason?
Yeah, no,
like,
that's the problem.
She just never shows up.
Well, also they have a Master of
the
Earth, which is Cole's grandfather.
Serpentine War, that's Cole's grandpa. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Lillywhit could not have like fought in the Serpentine War.
Okay, that makes more sense.
yeah.
then.
The only really point of criticism I have for the chapter is that the enemies, like Takanagi and his guys, they're like just like a low level gang with some tractors, I guess. And for me, that didn't feel that threatening when I know that like Cole could just call Nia and she has like a whole arsenal of mechs and stuff. But I mean, I assume it's like he's so far off and has no like means of communication or something.
Yeah,
So
that
it
makes
can be
sense.
explained away easily, but it's just something that
Nowhere.
came to my mind while
Also-
reading the story.
Cole doesn't lose the super strength when he loses powers, does he?
He does.
Does
At
he?
least he
Okay.
has
Also-
in
Oh,
some
you're
previous
episodes.
right, because there's
Yeah.
that scene in Possession where. Okay.
Dakota
yeah.
also Mia's like with Jay right now on an island.
I mean, do we know if it's at the same time?
I mean, Kai in the beginning, Kai was like, "Yeah, I'm doing this," and Cole's on a farm somewhere, and Jay's doing
But-
something.
In the beginning, they also said Nia's out doing Samurai X Mech stuff. So
I mean, yeah, but like that could be like her
Yeah.
profession, you know.
maybe she's on
Not like
vacation
her-
right
not
at
like
that
her
moment.
location. Yeah,
Should have called Ronan then or someone.
should have called the Upley.
Yeah.
Should have called the army of Shintaro to come wreak havoc
Yeah,
on these
Bards.
farmers.
Vanya said they'd come whenever he needs it.
Whole body of being attacked by tractors.
It's even interesting because in the tweet, the document that Tommy posted, he even mentions
Yeah.
Cole regenerate 2 to 3 voice actors, 3 if we would like to include Vanya. It's like at some point it was an idea, like as an option.
Yeah, I feel like this one changed quite a bit from the outline.
Yeah, at the same time, in all fairness, I also feel like if they had gone the Vanya route, we would be sitting here going, wow, so anytime Cole's in a pinch, he just calls Vanya and all the problems are solved. Like, I can see us doing that.
It's also, if they went with more of a Master of the Mountain story, we'd probably say, oh, they're just redoing Master of the Mountain. So yeah, they did something new. They did something very grounded and small scale, which I kind of appreciate. So it's not really, it's just something that came to mind. I don't think it's a problem.
Also, like the first time that the group disbanded, Cole became like a lumberjack out in the middle of nowhere. So that's not really out of character for him to go and like
Yeah.
Go off in the middle of nowhere and do some random job.
Though,
Yeah.
it does kind of perplex me why he didn't just go back to being a lumberjack. He said he was like always really good at that. He was really good with an axe. Kind of made me think, hey buddy, step off. Axes in Lego characters are claimed. But
By Axel from Nexonites.
Dakota, I can't even be mad. That was really freaking good. Dang it. Darn it. So, I don't know. It just, the story was fine. I think it was fine. It got Cole from point A to point B. Lou was introduced, which it was kind of this is more of a Lou story than a Cole story, because it showed how much Lou has changed and how much he supports his son now.
I actually really like that because it kind of followed Lou more than it did Cole because it starts with like Lou's arrival. But I think it's nice to see like Cole from an outside perspective of someone that knows him well.
Yeah.
I think that would have been like a cool way maybe to do some of the other stories too. Maybe all of them have like, for example, have Skylar be the main character in the Kai chapter in a way. That would have been an idea.
Yeah. No, I agree. But yeah, no, it's cool. You guys have anything else you want to say? Like, Josh, do you have anything more you'd like to say about this one?
Really?
No? Okay. Alright, in that case, unless there's anything else, before I move on then to the last one. Okay. In that case, we're going to go ahead and move into the last of the stories, that being Jay's. Jay starts off, and him and Nia are on vacation. That's right, Nia has, without reservation, hung up her activities for the time being and is like, all right, Jay, we're taking a break. We're going to this island. We're not going to name the island. Might get another community very excited if we named it, but it's fine. It's just a remote island. It's tropical. There's a canister on a golden beach. It's great. We're chilling. There's no canister, guys. We're chilling. We're going to just have a nice time, not even worry about anything, right? Also, Jay, go away. Just go wander off in the forest. So Jay wanders off into the jungle. He gets lost instantly. He gets tangled up in some, like, weeds. He's like, oh no, I'm tangled in weeds. What will I do? Nothing. That's what he'll do. Then comes along, lo and behold, dun da da da, it's Unagami. That's convenient. So Unagami frees him, says, hey, I'm here, I'm working on a game, I'm doing some research, come along. So Jay comes along. They look for this hidden temple thing. They stumble across it, they find it, they go down, they find out it's this ancient civilization, and all these documents are basically their library. They're very excited, and all of a sudden, it's booby-trapped. So the whole thing starts, like, falling apart. They start, like, leaving. Unagami gets knocked out. Jay's like, oh, snap, time to play Space Invaders. And he's, like, going up the stairs, like, blasting rocks with his powers. Oh, he got his powers back throughout all of that. Because he realized, hey, I might be an orphan, but that doesn't mean I haven't enjoyed no fun. Anyway, so he gets his powers back. He gets to the top, and Nia finds them because she put a tracker on him. He's like, I knew you'd get lost. Also, hi, Unagami. And Unagami's like, you're my new siblings, and you have no say in the matter. Just disregard the fact that I was also a tyrant at one point and tried to kill all of you. And I turned you into a cube, Nia. And that's it. That's the end of the story.
Unagami is cool.
All right.
He's still like a godlike being or not?
Well, he got knocked out by a falling rock.
I don't think he is in the real world.
Dang, that sucks.
Yeah.
He's just a really smart kid now.
Pretty much.
I mean, Prime Empire still exists, right? So
Yeah.
Can he go back in there and be like a godlike being again?
That's a great question, and this doesn't even begin to answer it.
Okay, looks Dakota. Without all the human souls powering him, he's no longer powerful. There you go.
But what if about the people who stayed in Prime Empire?
But they're not energy cubes, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was sentient before there were any energy cubes when he sucked in Scott.
I mean, fair enough. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
like
this one
is... Oh, sorry.
No, please go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like the story is like Prime Empire, like what it should have been, but in reverse. It's like, I feel like Prime Empire should have been about Jay, like kind of confronting Unagami, and I guess at the end he did, but I feel like the entire story should have been about how Unagami kind of felt empty because Milton Dyer like abandoned him.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what he thought. And like Jay would have to kind of change his mind and be the one to like show him and like kind of relate it back to Jay's own personal life without like having his birth parents. So it's kind of like that in reverse, because now Unagami's like a good guy and Jay's the one kind of going through the issues. I just kind of assume that Jay can like already kind of had come to terms with this a while ago, especially with the speech in Prime Empire. But I mean, I could definitely see that. I do like the story and how it finally does explore that, like what I wanted Prime Empire to explore.
This definitely.
The book seems.
Oh, go ahead, Scott.
Oh, go ahead, NJ. Okay. The book seems like it's something It's the issues about his birth family is something that's been like lingering in his head the whole time, even though he's mostly come to terms with it. It comes up from time to time again, I guess.
Yeah.
That's how it seemed to me.
And I could definitely accept that.
Yeah.
This story definitely, it comes off as, again, trying to follow up on a previous one, which like we saw with like Kai's, and and definitely Zane's, and I'm not even just talking about Crystallized, it feels ripped right out of Prime Empire, like you were saying, Bendo, like in regards to the subject matter. But it almost has the opposite issue. Like Prime Empire, at the very end, Jay is like, hey, I was abandoned. That should help you. And in this case, it's immediately, I was abandoned. No one can help me. And it feels very disconnected from him losing his powers. In fact, that's something I want to touch on as we kind of do a wrap-up for this whole book, but this especially, it feels like it came out of nowhere. And you know what? Full benefit of the doubt, maybe this is just him feeling bad, he's in a low point, and intrusive thoughts are entering his mind. And
yeah, it also doesn't really help that Unagami's like, man, me and Milton Dyer, my dad, are so cool right now. Like, he's such a great dad.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, look at these ancient scrolls and how this ancient civilization treated their families, Jay.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. It's very in your face. But it's definitely peculiar. Like, I don't know, it just kind of seems a little heavy-handed at times, but it is also not a bad thing to touch upon that. And the moral of the story is also good. You know, it is a good one. It's kind of the moral of the Lego Batman movie.
Yeah.
Where
it's like the found family
exactly.
kind of story.
Yeah, and I like that. I appreciate that. That's a good story. And for Jay, it's very good. It's just, I feel like in some respects, it was a little weird to see here. Yeah, it was just kind of an unusual thing. The way that it was written was just a smidge bizarre. But
yeah, it's like a very much, oh, what a coincidence that those events all happened after one another.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
what a coincidence! Unagami is on the island.
Yeah,
yeah.
And he's trying to find like an ancient civilization, and it has a fun lesson about family.
Yeah. I will say, when I was reading this is, I would say, the best written in terms of the ninja's personality being in parody with the show. So, like, the way Jay is written here is one-to-one how he is written in actual, like, the Ninjago series. I think it pretty much nails it, especially with the gag of Jay going like, you're just a kid, you don't know anything. And as it continues, it kind of transforms that saying, and you see a little bit of Jay's, I don't know, kind of endearment, but you also see how Jay is really obnoxious and kind of a whiner baby. Like, you're just a kid,
I also
you don't know anything.
I think they also I really liked how they wrote Jay and Nia's interaction. They had a really fun dynamic, like the little bands they had with each other. I feel like that's something they could do more of in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. So I appreciated that. I think that his writing in this is on par with how Kai is written in terms of being in parody with the show. Not saying Kai is written well, just saying that the way he's written is how he is on TV. It's very accurate.
I think all four of them they translate very well from book to TV. They feel in character.
Yeah, I guess the only one that never really clicks with me is Cole. But I don't know. For some reason I have like Cole character blindness. I can never ever see it, and I have no idea why.
I think with Cole it fits because of the circumstance.
Yeah, Cole is like the big brother taking on the protector role.
But he doesn't like say anything specifically that I feel like Cole would say, or do anything specifically that I feel like Cole would, like, that's exclusive to what Cole would do. I just think his circumstance and his relationship, like, with his dad kind of helps to, like, be like, oh yeah, this feels like a Cole story. But
I've always said I feel like
specific.
I feel like he doesn't fit into like a type, I guess. Like Kai is the
Yeah.
angry, cocky one. Jay is the funny, obnoxious one. Say Zane is the smart, he's like the smart one. It's like the smart, analytical one. Cole doesn't really have like
One
a
word
thing that he
description.
fits. Yeah, he doesn't
Yeah.
really have a thing that he fits into. Which
Mhm.
if you're like, look, I guess you kind of have to look at examples of like how his personality manifests in order to know what he's like, I guess.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think Master of the Mountain is the only time that they actually made Cole feel like a character. Because, like, well, not feel like a character, but feel like his own, like, well-defined character. Because every single element of him is presented, and you can't really do that in, like, a single story in, like, a book, and you can't even do that in, like, a single side plot of, like, a season. But the reason they give him so many side plots in the show is to show off hints of his personality. Because it's just so hard to they have to put him in very specific situations,
Mhm.
and I think Master of the Mountain did that very well, and I think they tried to replicate that here with like the farm, and I think parts of it work, but it doesn't quite like he doesn't say or do anything that gets that personality across.
Yeah.
It's kind of just the circumstance.
No, I can appreciate that. I I don't remember if we discussed this before when we discussed Master of the Mountain, but when I was reading, this is off topic from Jay's, but it's tangentially related. I don't remember if this point had been made. Is it just me, or is Cole's main like slogan not just the same as Zane's?
No, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same. It's kind of the same thing.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure for some
I'll always
reason.
protect those who cannot protect themselves, and stand up
Technically,
to those who are cruel and unjust. It's
technically,
kind of the same.
semantically, Zane's is more defensive and Cole's is
Yeah,
more
Zane's is
offensive.
more defensive.
Okay.
Colt is more aggressive, I guess. But
No, yeah, no, that is the difference. My bad then. I misremembered that one. For some reason, there was a defense component in
but
my
in
mind for Cole, but no, you're right.
I think
that
they're
is the
similar.
in
The
a
way they handle the
situation-
stories is different.
yeah, in a situation where there is like a bad guy that has to be stopped, it's kind of the same thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's just the way they
that's-
execute it.
Yeah.
Zane's gonna be the one who protects the people, and then Cole's gonna be the one who goes and attacks
Beats
the
up
villain.
the villain. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Then
Cole uses love arms.
But I feel like it is similar in
Which
a
is
lot
probably-
of situations.
Why Zane is the one who dies all the time, because he's constantly protecting other people to the detriment of himself.
Um,
but yeah.
One more thing about the Jay story, Josh. This one is something I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Lore talk time. The scrolls and that civilizations are thousands of years old.
Oh no.
Yep. Yeah.
Are they human?
Or are they dancer?
Look,
Or
I
are
have
they
two.
keepers, maybe?
Look, Sakota, I have two answers for that, but they both fit into my own lore.
Okay.
I have I have two potential answers for that. Sorry, but that's not something.
What are the answers?
I could say anything right now, and like only you and like a handful of the people would know what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
maybe not for the podcast then.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, kind of bringing it back to Jay's. I thought it was good. I thought of these, it was the second best, in my opinion. So it's going to be the one right before that space, before Zane's. And it was a good introspection on Jay. I thought that of anyone to help send home that message and kind of bring full circle the storyline that at least not started, but had been touched upon in Prime Empire, Unagami was a great choice. I thought having him there, however convenient it might be, was the wise call. It was a good decision. I'm glad that we saw him. I'm glad that we've seen how much he has changed and what he's up to. It helps kind of expand on the world otherwise. I did kind of realize that Unagami is Zane. He's just this super smart kid made by this guy. And this guy is now older. So at one point, Unagami is going to die. Or sorry, my apologies. Milton Dyer is going to die. And then Unagami is just going to be in Zane's position as a super smart, potentially robotic kid.
Unagami's gonna delete his memory.
I mean,
And Milton Dyer, not Unagami.
Yes, it's the same thing. But
also LJ, like, Pixel's kind of the same thing. It's just
Oh.
that Borg isn't that old.
yeah, I mean,
Isn't
well,
as
yeah,
old.
that's really kind of the thing. Like, Milton Dyer is older, so
Yeah, but he's not like he's not like
he's not Death's
He's not
Door.
like-
I agree.
yeah, he's not Julian old.
Mhm.
He's
Yeah.
But
The Unagami Zane Pixel team up season where they all deal with.
It would
dead
be cool
parents.
if Zane and Pixel adopted Unagami.
yeah.
well,
That'd be interesting.
sorry, Unagami's already found his siblings, and it's
Well, once
I mean, you can find more.
once Dyer dies,
But no, I thought it was a good story, and the characterization was well done. I thought Jay was very well written. The situation was cool. It was short, sweet, to the point. It was good.
Yeah.
Part of me will always wish that Prime Empire tackled this instead.
Yeah.
But given the circumstances of what we have here, I think it was handled pretty well.
Yeah. All right. In that case, unless there's anything else, I figure we'll go ahead and move on to our wrap-up, final, overall thoughts of the novel. So, I think, at the end of the day, Quest for Lost Powers is what needed to happen in light of what happened. Like, what happened didn't need to happen. But considering that it has happened, this is a good follow-up. The novel is very good. The stories are very good, with the exception of Kai's. Kai's isn't even a fault of... I don't want to say right out the gate that it's a fault of the writer, because the writer is just basing the material off of pre-existing material. So it's the fault of previous writers. I thought I think the best one is Zane's, then the space below Zane's, then Jay's, then Cole's, there's space below Cole's, and then Kai's. And it's a good book. It's a good story. I think there's some good lesson morals you can find in there. It's a good time. And I think it is as appropriate a follow-up as you can have to Crystallized. It is what we needed. And I definitely encourage people to pick it up. Since it's a canon story, you might not need it going into Ninjago United, but it is not going to hurt.
Yeah.
So kind of what are your thoughts?
Overall, I liked it a lot. I think you probably won't need it going into Ninjago United. Like, going forward, all that really happened is they got their powers back, and that was very much implied in Crystallized that that's going to happen in some way. So I think it's not like you won't get the next season if you don't read it, but I think it's a good book to read, and I'd recommend people to read it if they like Ninjago and are open to reading books. Zane was definitely my favorite. Then I'd also say a bit of a gap. I think I like Cole's and Jay's pretty much the same. Maybe Jay's a little bit more, but I like both of them. And yeah, Kai's was a bit of a problem, but I also mostly blame that on the current state of Kai's character in the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to say that the illustrations are fantastic in the book.
Yes.
And I find it so weird with the Amit books. They never credit an artist. I think they have like a team probably. But you can't really find out who did the art.
Yeah,
At least I couldn't.
That's weird. I would love to know, because the illustrations,
because
they've got such a great...
the illustrations in this, especially Two Brothers, they have such a cool style, and I love them.
Yeah. No, somebody did something really cool. I think it was Bricks by Mind, where he had his thumbnail for the review, and he colored in one of the pages, and that blew my mind.
Cool.
That was just such a cool idea. I really like that. I'd love to see more of that.
Yeah, like all of these books, I think they look fantastic. They're very easy reading, but I think they do their job well. They still tell very compelling stories.
Mhm.
And yeah, overall, I like the book a lot.
Excellent. All right, Josh.
Yeah, I mean everything that I think is everything that I was gonna say has been said already. Zane's my favorite. I think Cole will probably be the next one, just for bias, purposes. Then Jay, then Kai. But yeah, they're pretty good.
Cool. Bendo.
I appreciate that this book exists because I feel like it highlights a lot of stories that I wanted to see, specifically with Zane and Jay. Just having those stories with the Ice Emperor and Jay's like adopted mom problems be addressed in something at least is nice.
Yeah.
Specifically with Jay's, I feel like it could have been handled in the show. I feel like there wasn't a reason for it not being, but besides that, the way they handled it here was good. Zane's, I completely understand why it's in the side story. I feel like there just wasn't time for it in the actual show. They could have done it in the show. Like I don't think for a second that the writers of the show weren't capable of
No, it's
delivering
not
that story.
impossible. Yeah.
I just think they simply didn't have the time for it, given the way that the show continued after season 11 and the way it ended. So I think having it here is satisfying enough. So I'm happy with that. Kai's story wasn't great. I'd even argue that I don't think it's completely in line with how he is in the show, simply because I feel like he is a bit more mean-spirited in the book than in the show. I feel like he's never really shown to be mean in the show,
That's
at
reasonable.
least nowadays. But I can definitely see where you're coming from with just how he's presented, like his cockiness and that kind of stuff. And then with Cole, I think that it was fitting for him. I wish there was more to him, but I understand how Cole is a complicated character to handle. And it's a miracle that Master of the Mountain even happened to begin with. So, I'll take that. And they can do whatever they want with Cole from now on. Just don't character assassinate him, and we'll be all good. Overall, I think it's good. I enjoyed it, and I hope that it's not like Garmadon, where we go into the next series and we're like, oh yeah, this cool canon story, and then they completely retcon it, or not really completely retcon it, but just don't even mention any of the stuff that happened and avoid it. I'm a bit worried about that because with Garmadon, it's like, yes, technically it could still be canon, but they never mention it or bring up anything about it. So I'm hoping that here they at least mention some of the stuff. But I also don't want it to be confusing for people who didn't read it. So, yeah, I'm a bit concerned about how they're going to handle it moving into the show. But overall, I think it was good. I liked it a lot.
Very good. Yeah. No, I definitely am curious to see where things are moving forward. And what you were saying, it kind of made me realize, again, I'm reading some of the chat as well. I feel refreshed almost having a look at the original 4 Ninja and not having to worry about the baggage that is Lloyd.
Yes.
And his and like just everything surrounding him. Like, this is just kind of refreshing. Not to say that Lloyd is bad, except for in Crystallized,
He's in
where
a tough spot right now.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I just popped in my head. It's like, this is nice. This is just good. So, yeah. I think that's gonna wrap up our review of this. Again, if anyone wants a non-spoiler review, if you just tune back in, we're done with spoilers. And we have this as a testament to what we think of the book. Let us know what you think in the comments below. About if you have the book, what do you think of Quest for Lost Powers? Love to hear from all of you and see what the community thinks. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and touch briefly before we wrap up on some new photos we got for the next series, the next TV show. For anyone unaware, the next TV show for 2023 is coming up. It is being described as the next part in a new storytelling cycle after the end of the previous storytelling cycle, which was Crystallized It is not a reboot. And most recently, we have gotten some photos that were somehow, from somewhere, some why, added to IMDb's page for the new Ninjago series. There were 4 photos, and just a few days ago, they were confirmed by Ninjago story author, like TV show writer Doc Wyatt, as being official photos. He also alluded in some tweets that they were, quote, unreal, end quote.
That was someone else, right?
That things were going to be unreal. Which
And epic.
Can I
some
find the tweet?
some people believe that to suggest that Ninjago is now going to be animated in Unreal Engine. I don't know how much I subscribe to that, but I digress. So we're gonna go ahead and look over these 4 pictures real quick. We'll go ahead and start with this
Here's
one.
the
What's up?
real quick. Here's the tweet. It's from the Asa who Tate. Was someone? He's someone else, but he also works on Ninjago.
Mhm.
And he wrote, "You could say things are getting a little unreal for this epic new series." So kind of having like Unreal in there and epic, like in Epic Games. So I feel like
Oh, I forgot about
it
that.
is quite the teaser for the Unreal Engine thing. I
That makes
could
more
see
sense.
it.
No, thank
could
you for
definitely
finding
see it,
that.
yeah.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
Also,
that's
to
fine.
add to that, there was announcement of a Epic Games and Lego collaboration like a year ago. So
I
that
think
also ties into this.
they're working on multiple things together with Epic Games,
Yeah,
Lego.
they're working on
We
like a
don't know
metaverse
exactly
thing.
what. Yeah.
Like
Some
Lego
kind of
Universe 2.
metaverse thing. I
Oh.
hope so. That would be cool.
Yo,
Yeah, but I think this surprisingly may be, if this is true, maybe the first project from that collaboration to come out.
Yeah.
Assuming
we
that
also
that's what they're
know-
hinting at.
They've also worked with Unity before, with the mocap stuff they did for Ninjago the Island.
That's true.
Those YouTube videos, they did those with Unity, I think.
Yeah, definitely very interesting. Did not expect that when I heard of the partnership like a year ago.
As far as these photos are concerned, let's go ahead and kind of talk about them. There's not a whole lot to talk about, I'm going to be honest. But we'll start with this one. It is a photo of a poster showing 3 mechs on a post. So that's a
Yep.
posted poster that I just posted.
The text says, let me read that. Mech Master 5000, and at the bottom it says Mech Ma, and then in the right it says reward track pie.
I'm glad that you can read Ninjargon, because I cannot.
I can, but it takes me a bit usually.
That's okay.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I don't really know what to glean from this. I can't even say that these are gonna be like sets, because, I mean, truth be told, we got a leaked set name list a while back. I've forgotten all of it. I don't know if this tracks. It's interesting that we're seeing these. These are very definitive, like, different looking mechs. So, like, there had to have been designs somewhere. Looks like it's a mech tournament. And
Yeah, some kind of like race or something.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not going to turn that down.
I mean, looks cool. This could be fun.
I'm just going to hope that if there is a physical side to it, I just hope Nick von Slagmat was involved.
The mechs remind me a lot of the Diva mech from Overwatch.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
I can see that with the one on the right. So
Yeah.
that, like,
And the pink and like color wise.
yeah, like the one on the right had the pink color scheme.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's interesting.
Maybe Skullkin. That one has like kind of like skull bone aesthetic.
Maybe Bone King.
I think
Yeah.
Mesa
Maybe they're
just
making
found
Core
something.
Cannon.
We're gonna just somehow he's in the race. We just see him as like a community minifigure, It's gonna tick everyone off, and he's just in a mech, and he's like, "Hey guys, subscribe to my YouTube channel," and he just friggin' spills.
This is pretty base.
Ooh.
Then he loses the mech battle and says, "Guess that was the karmic seesaw."
Brutal. Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have any more thoughts on this? I really don't.
Not really.
Not really.
Reminds me of like the
Nice
Speedway
wood
5
texture.
billion.
Yeah,
Like
kind
the
of.
whole Prime Empire thing. I'm interested to see if. Also, the logo at the top reminds me of Transformers. I don't know if anyone mentioned that already, but
I was thinking like Voltron or something.
Yeah, some Sentai.
and you can also see like the city in the background. So
It kind of
very
reminds
futuristic.
me of the new mech from the collectible minifigure wave.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Let me see if I can try and find a
Yeah, I can see that.
picture.
Oh yeah,
It's
or
not-
Gundam.
It's not 1-to-1, but yeah, it.
Yeah, I can't find a picture in time, but yeah, no, it just kind of reminds me of that. Yeah, it's interesting. It suggests that there's an event, and that we'll probably see that at some point. I noticed the lighting kind of reminds me just ever so slightly of. This is gonna sound weird, but it kind of reminds me of Sons of Garmadon, just a little.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
like the
kind of
neon
atmospheric.
Yeah.
Is it just me or does
cyberpunky.
it's more obvious in the other ones? But it seems like kind of stylized, like
Yeah.
2D animation, 3D hybrid. But I can't exactly tell. I don't know if they would do that.
If
I
they
mean,
do
it's
that,
hard
then
to
I
tell from this
wouldn't
one
mind.
because it's like a 2D poster. I guess.
Yeah, I mean
but
it's
if-
more obvious in the other ones.
If you look at like the wood textures in this one, it does have like a bit of different visual style than what we're used to.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see if it'll be like that 2D, 3D stylized hybrid that a lot of movies have been doing, but that also seems very expensive and like quite the stylistic switch up. So I don't know if that's likely or not, but
Yeah.
just thought that was interesting.
apparently, so the according to this, DreamWorks rendering software that was used in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is now available. Is now open source.
Oh,
That
so
makes
they
me
could-
very excited.
that's cool.
just-
All right, let's get our
Here,
lower frame
Oh.
rate Ninjago.
Dude,
gotta be honest, I
That'd be
love
so
that style. So
I would absolutely adore if that happened. I don't want to get my hopes up though, because like
Yeah.
I mean, current Ninjago animation is already incredible as it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it necessarily needs to change. But I mean, I'd be all down for that. Like more stylized 2D, 3D hybrid.
Yeah.
Cut the frame rates a bit. Because do we know like what frame rate Ninjago's at normally? Is it like
I'm pretty sure
I would
it's,
assume 24.
yeah, it's standard broadcast frame rate. It's my understanding.
okay? Yeah, they've never really played with the frame rate in Ninjago before, so that would be interesting.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next image. This is one of two that have gotten the most discussion.
Can you? Which one are you doing?
It's a pie.
Okay, I was gonna say I would say like do that one and then the hallway one for like
Yep.
save the other
For
one for
dramatic
last.
Yep,
effect.
you got me.
Yep.
Cool.
It's a pie.
It's a pie.
It looks tasty.
Does it though? There's something green in there.
It could be like a
I mean-
meat pie, like a meat and vegetable pie. Maybe a savory. You know?
Maybe it's green apples. It's apple
Yeah.
pie.
You don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I don't know. That's fair. Could be, Scotty, you're right. It could be a green apple pie. But
Who do you predict is taking out the pie of the oven?
Jay?
in the
Sorry, Cole.
final
Cole,
shot?
my bad, Cole.
Cool. I mean, it would be the logical choice, but
Yeah.
Depends on how good the pie is, I guess.
it's gonna be Harumi, and she made a pie for everyone to apologize for all her war crimes. Sorry, guys, I made a pie.
They should do like the whole like what was it? Rise of the Snakes thing, and have snakes come out of the pie.
Ugh,
Cole grabs it
yeah.
out of the oven.
Yeah, no, it's
I mean, there's green.
it certainly there's obviously something beyond the pie, but
Pie is the key.
Like I don't really have anything else to say about this, honestly.
It also ties into the last picture we had, right? Because it says like reward track pie. So maybe the pie is the reward for the mech contest.
oh
Collect
dang,
the 5 pies.
friggin' spoilers.
That's a new collectible.
Oh
Every
my
set has a different pie.
New, collect all 4 of the golden pies to win the race and save Ninjago City.
Each pie is sold separately.
That's awesome. All right.
I want to see I want to see weapons pack, but it's pies.
So the next image we have, image 3. Nothing interesting. It's a hallway. I think this is actually like an underground subway rail system.
Yeah.
What
If
looks
that
like
rat
kind of-
appears again.
Guys, what if it's the crystallized railway?
Oh no.
The one.
Oh my goodness, are we
This
gonna
one
get...
looks like some of these liminal spaces.
Yeah.
Ninjago liminal space.
The Ninjago back rooms. No.
This is where
Oh no.
this is where Fire Fang went to.
Lloyd no clips.
Anytime someone disappears, they've ended up in this hallway. Just from the start.
It's like just a bunch of lost Ninjago side characters.
It's where all the collectibles go.
We found the
It's where
That's where
every-
Fang blades are.
Yeah, and the elemental blades.
we found the
For every character who doesn't get a minifigure goes. That's where all the minifigures show up.
Fujidub is here. Dang, brutal. Yeah. All right, let's talk about the last one. This has stirred up the greatest amount of conversation in the community and the greatest amount of theorizing. This is a photo which seems to show a cityscape, or at least overviewing a village with a city in the background up on top of a mountain, and we have a night skyline. And in the night sky, 2 moons. Let's talk about it.
Okay, for one,
That's-
people who say this is Two Moon Village because it has 2 moons don't understand
Yeah.
astronomy at all.
That's not a moon. That's a space station.
I think that Two Moon Village just put another moon there, like locally for them.
Listen, Josh, you don't understand, okay? The Ninjago planet is flat, okay? And that just changes how the
Excuse
sky
Oh no,
me.
he's a flat ninjogger.
Excuse me. They've been to space, LJ. They've seen the planet. The planet is round.
That's
if
just
anything,
what they want you
the
to think.
first realm is flat.
As was a
LJ.
projection.
Listen, it's Ninjago propaganda, okay? You can't believe that, okay? They rendered
It's like
those
the Lego
images.
movie. It's
John,
on a
Yeah.
you
table.
trust the mayor?
The windows in the spaceship were curved.
So, yeah, have we ever seen 2 moons in Ninjago before?
Mm-mm.
I do not believe so.
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
Were there more moons in any of the other realms? No, right?
No, I mean, we probably didn't
Oh.
see any.
Also, like, okay, first of all, correct me if I'm wrong, which happens frequently, especially about Ninjago. But Two Moon Village is named Two Moon Village because there's the moon, and the reflection from the nearby
Yep.
like lake is the second moon.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm not crazy. I mean, maybe, but not about this.
I don't know if they outright say it, but I think that's like the implication.
Okay.
Also,
I-
there was another tweet from Doc Wyatt
Yeah.
talking about the moons.
I
Did he like
posted that in...
imply that this is the Never Realm?
He was like
No.
he was like it wouldn't make sense for it to be like the
He
same,
said-
but like
I-
why
I've
would
got
they
the tweet.
put a second moon?
The
Something
tweet
like
is, if there were 2 moons in the night sky, why wouldn't wouldn't there's a it missing, I think. It shine on only one village. They shine down on every village slash town slash city. But the bigger question is, what would put a second moon in the sky? Hashtag no spoilers.
Mm.
I mean,
What would put a second moon in the sky?
making one?
Someone, I don't know who, but someone said like that this was someone implied that this was the Neverrealm thawing.
I mean, that could be cool. There's like snow in the distance.
I'm looking for the tweet, but
did we ever see the moon in the Neverrealm? We probably did in like the Akita episodes, right?
I think didn't
mean-
Akita like literally like transform like right in front of the moon?
with how
With
little we know
only
about,
one though, right?
with how many
Yeah.
with how little we know about the Neverrealm, you could easily like have just not been there.
Just
We saw it
Maybe
in
they have a second moon in the Neverrealm, but the rotation around the planet is that slow that it doesn't always show up.
Sure, let's go with that. Yeah,
I mean, that's possible, right?
it was behind the
I mean,
other
yeah.
moon. Also, the image itself, it's you can see it. It looks like concept art to me, but like it's supposed to be from the show itself, right?
I think
Like
so.
this
Yeah.
is a shot, because again, it looks very stylized, very 2D.
I think that's just like the style of the new series.
Yeah. So I really do like how that looks
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
interested to see how the animation looks.
Yeah, I want to see some characters in that
Yeah.
in the new style.
Mm-hmm. I will say, if it
Talking about the 2D 3D styles, making me really want to see that now.
stylistically, this looks very in keeping. Like the design work of the buildings is very in keeping with Ninjago.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
definitely looks like if I didn't know any better, this is a Ninjago photo.
There's also a
We
lot
also-
of detail.
The sign we see, that's also in jargon letters.
Mhm.
I think it's a 3 is the first one. I had to look that up. I didn't know the numbers. And yeah. So, and an E is the next letter, but we can't see anymore. But that would probably also imply that it's in Ninjago, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
They have the
Yeah.
letters.
Do they have the
to
letters
be
in other
fair,
places?
they haven't really done like
Letters for other places.
yeah.
What if this story starts off and it's just immediately an explanation of the realm system? And this is just how like the Never Realm just merged into our primary realm. It's like,
I mean, the implication, like, what could put a second moon in the sky? It's like, I mean, it's very hard to do something like that. Could it be like, because it's a new series, they very much hammer home this isn't just like another season. Could it be that there was like some big event that very much changed Ninjago as we know it, like
And
by
maybe
magic, by Jin Wish, by
No,
time travel, by whatever.
yeah,
Not
Also,
saying that's a good idea, but
you could
those
see-
are
I'm pretty sure
possibilities,
that's-
right?
Is that Borg Tower in the background with like the
No,
buildings surrounding it,
that's
or is that
way
something
too
else?
small.
it doesn't look like Borg Tower.
Okay.
It looks different, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking because I was like looking at it, I was like maybe, but I wasn't sure. So yeah, could be in another realm. I feel like it could also just be in Ninjago, especially with the tweet. Like, someone may have just put another moon in the sky, a villain of some kind, and that's what's causing the conflict somehow.
It's time. Now that Tommy is gone, we're getting Ninjago aliens. They're coming to the moon.
They're like immediately space season.
Yeah. The
soon
one thing
as
Tommy
he's
never wanted. Now it's time for the
Ninjago
space
alien
season.
conquest.
The moon. The moon is a spaceship. This is just how they're disguised. Like, you know what? Maybe they won't notice. Yeah, it's interesting. I think this is the best look at the new season thus far,
Yeah.
and I'm very curious to see more. Like this.
I wonder if these are all from one episode.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised that would actually
Yeah.
make a modicum of sense, because they're all kind of the same general temperature, you know?
Yeah.
Like the
I
coloration.
don't know. I mean,
all
there's no
matches.
way to know right now, but it's just I don't know.
I will say, if this new season starts and it goes in hard, then in this, like, hypothetically, this is the first episode, a reintroduction, it'd be weird that Ninjago has started off on a super strong foot at night twice. Because Sons
They
of
just do the
Garmadon-
whole Sons of Garmadon intro again.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm getting those vibes from all of
But
this.
the moon's already like in the sky in the
Mhm.
shot, so it makes me think maybe it's later. Unless they start the series with the moon in the sky and they just begin in like the middle of the conflict and then they kind of go back and explain stuff.
Yeah.
They should start with
Like the ninja
pie.
all get back with their powers and they're like, "Oh, this happened while you were gone," kind of thing. I don't know.
It's just going to
But-
start off, and the pie is sitting there going, click.
The opening shot is the pie being taken out of the
Yeah.
oven.
It's the narrator. The pie's just
Then
sitting
they
there
all
being
eat
like,
pie and
yep, that's me. I bet you're wondering how I got into this situation right now. Well, it all started after the Crystal King was defeated. Then the episode ends with the
there
pie
was a
getting
book called Quest for the Last Powers. I hope you read it.
eaten. In stores now, while supplies last.
Okay, I found it. I sort of found it. So I think that he might have deleted this tweet,
Oh.
but because I can't find it on here. But I looked up Ninjago NetherRealm thawing Twitter, and I found the post that he wrote. It's the description says, "Dude, the boss is spilling thinly veiled production details. Are we in the NetherRealm? Because it feels like the freeze might be starting to thaw." But whenever I click on it, it just takes me to his page.
Oh, I think I remember seeing that too.
Yeah.
I saw that too, but I couldn't find it.
Don't bring Akita back, guys. Just don't. I'm
I
begging
mean,
you.
They
why
will.
not?
Yeah.
Why
They're
They're going
not?
to, and then they're gonna have a love triangle with Harumi.
Oh gosh,
fair enough.
no.
I
That's
already
it.
know it's gonna happen.
Honestly, Akita meeting Harumi would be such a fun interaction, though. Like,
But at what
all
cost?
jokes aside, like, oh, that's the Harumi you told me so much about.
Yeah,
That
can
would
we?
be fun. I feel like Harumi's gonna be a very comedic character in this. I just have that hunch. I don't want that to be the case, but I have a hunch. I don't know why. I just get that feeling.
That she's
I-
actually gonna make the volleyball team.
I just don't know what they're gonna do with her besides her just tag along and be comedic or something like that.
Or they
What
just do
stories
like a
could you even
Skylar
tell?
thing and just
I
leave.
honestly could see them just not having her at all.
Yeah. They
But
just
how would
kinda
they
have
rate her out of it?
Put her in prison.
Oh, Harumi's on
Put her in-
vacation
I
and
would
trying to
hope
do
they would put her in
better.
prison.
I mean, how would they write her out of it? The same way they've written other things out of it. They
Yeah,
don't.
same way they're
I would explain it.
Tanya.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
ugly
They send her
MVP.
to the. They send her to the tunnel.
Yeah. The Ninjago liminal space. Yeah.
I really hope she's just in jail at the start. That would be best case scenario in my
That
opinion.
would
probably.
imply that villains get consequences for their actions.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
most
what
of
are they gonna
them
do with the
do.
rest of the villains too? Is everyone just gonna be back in jail and then we're gonna have like a side episode of the villains?
Well,
Messing
Mr. G is gonna come out.
Mr. G.
Aw, dang. The top G.
The time.
he comes in. It's like, you know what Ninjago needs? Sorry, let me restart. Ninjago needs to work out. We need to go to the gym. All
Mr.
right?
G grind set.
Yeah, it's a Mr. G grind set. All right, this is a Sigma male grind set. Okay.
Oh no, Predapire's coming after me.
He says it all from friggin' Cryptarium prison.
I like the previous two misters that didn't talk more.
Sky's the limit.
They could do anything, man. And I don't even know how I'd feel. I legit, like, have no idea what they're even
Yeah.
gonna choose to do with any character. Let alone,
Honestly, that
like,
makes
the
it kind of
villains.
exciting. Like with these pictures coming out, I'm getting pretty excited for
I'm
them.
excited.
See like what they're gonna do.
I think the animation's gonna be fantastic, no matter
Yeah.
what.
I agree.
And I think they have interesting. It looks like they have some creative ideas, and I
Yeah.
think like a lot of worry has been, oh, is it going to be a retread? We're back at the status quo. Are they going to retread, Rise of the Snakes, like how they kind of did in season 11? Are they going to retread Sons of Garmadon? I think hopefully it seems they may be doing a completely new story, something we haven't seen before, when it comes to a, I guess, soft reboot season.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I hope that's the case. Looks interesting. Looks different.
I'm excited.
Especially with Wildbrain animating it. Seeing it be different despite the fact that it's the same studio. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also overall very happy how much communication we got from people like Doc Wyatt. I was very worried that when Tommy left that we'd have like no one to talk to about Ninjago stuff who actively works on it. But they've shared a lot, answered so many questions. Like the fact that they clarified that these pictures are actually real, I was very surprised by that, like in a positive way.
I was very happy to see that, yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
That was very nice. Good, very refreshing from the past.
All right. I think that mostly covers everything. Like, do you guys have anything else to add about this? About these screenshots?
I am
Not really.
intrigued. I'm officially intrigued.
All right. We
Yeah.
See
me
what they
too.
do.
entered the intrigued realm.
I think they are doing a good job of kind of turning around the situation the community's been in. It feels like it's coming back. Excitement is returning. Despite how Crystallized ended, they're building up excitement again. Which I'm not gonna say I'm like super eager or that like I'm like more excited like by a drastic amount, but I am very interested compared to how I was
Yeah.
prior.
That's fair. Yeah, it has been nice seeing people get genuinely excited for things and like looking forward to things. Especially since I still do not know of a time in this franchise's life that I've seen the community so wildly dejected, so just unabashedly downtrodden and upset as I have at the end of Crystallized.
Maybe after like the original cancellation.
Yeah, but even then,
when they brought out Chima.
Yeah, and, you know, in my defense, I wasn't as involved in the community at that point, so I don't remember that, but I'm going to take your word for it. That I could not even imagine.
Yeah, Chima was not a great way to kick off.
People
Because
were
didn't
very
didn't they
upset.
air it right after the finale too?
I don't know because I'm in Germany.
I think
I
it
think-
was
I
like a
think- I
very
think they,
quick
like-
turnaround.
I think they did the like the ad for it or something like that, like right after.
Yeah.
Oh,
It very much felt like, all right, Ninjago's over. All right, new thing. Here it is. And then it was just like not nearly as good as what came before.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but I also wasn't like on Twitter back then, so
You were
I don't
free.
know
Yeah.
if Ninjago Twitter was even a thing.
I doubted. I don't know.
So
Though.
it's kind of hard to gauge, but I feel like at least season 2's ending was good enough to satisfy people. I feel
Yeah.
it didn't actively make things worse.
Yeah.
So I'd say Crystallized is probably still the worst state the community's probably been in at this point, but
Yeah.
I'm not entirely educated on the community's past as a whole.
Gosh, it's still rough. All right. in that case, is there anything else you guys want to say? Anything before we wrap up and head out?
Not
Okay.
that I can think of.
All right,
Not really, no.
fantastic. In that case, we're going to go ahead and end things. Ben, thank you so much for being here today. It was a pleasure to have you, and we got to have you back, please.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'd be happy to come back anytime as long as I'm not busy.
That would be
I
wonderful.
really appreciate you having me on. This has been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for reaching out. Again, I'm terribly sorry about the delay. I really am.
No worries at all.
But,
No,
yeah,
I completely understand.
We definitely need to do this again. And to anyone listening, if you're part of the Ninjago community, if you're actively engaged in things and you have some perspectives that you want to share with everyone here on NinjagoCast, feel free to reach out to us. I'm going to do my very darndest to be quicker about replying, I swear. Life has been very, very crazy. But definitely reach out to us. You can reach out to us on Twitter at The3Virtues. I think that's the Twitter. Let me double check before I'm made a fool. I keep on forgetting. Okay, so it's at the TTV channel on Twitter.
Oh.
You can also email us at the number 3 virtues at gmail.com. And if you're a part of our Patreon Discord, you can also reach out to us here. And if you have something that you want to share and be a guest on NinjagoCast. So, additionally, before I forget, we're still looking for a new mascot. We still don't have a mascot. Some people made some recommendations in our, what episode was it? It was episode 69, 70, something like that. And I don't know, I'm not jiving with them yet. We still...
You don't want the green Hydro Whipper?
No. I don't know, we need someone like distinct. We need someone with pizzazz, with character, but not too much
Mr. G.
character. You know, before, for reference, we had... Oh, goodness. Chokin.
Joking.
I didn't realize
I still
Chokin was like
Chokin.
a bigger thing, separate.
Yeah,
of
he's
us.
a giant ham sandwich guy.
Yeah.
That is true.
But yeah, no. So we're still like looking for suggestions. I'm seeing some people saying the pie. We don't have a high enough quality like image of the pie, and I don't want to lock the pie in without knowing what the
pie could have
pie's
been-
story
Dude.
is.
It could be the worst writing decision Ninjago's ever made. We just don't
Exactly,
know.
right? Like that pie could be Harumi 2.
Cannot believe that you don't subscribe to my new ship, Pi X Christopher.
Okay,
Oh,
and we're
no.
done. We're done.
No.
You and Sakota today, I swear.
I think Gillis is bringing up a good point in the YouTube chat.
Don't you dare.
The Chima Beaver as a mascot.
No!
There is a worse character from Chima that could be the mascot.
Sorry.
Yep.
That's for our lowest days. The first Spinjitzu master gives his
Low-
stinkiest skinnets to his struggling
Things would have to be really
Ninjago
bad
cast
if it's-
hosts.
If it's lower than Crystallized, things would have to be very bad in that circumstance.
But anyway, we do appreciate suggestions, so feel free to leave those in the comments below as well. All right, that being said, any final thoughts before I get into the plugs and wrap up?
Nope.
Alrighty. In that case, thank you all so very much for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode of NinjagoCast. We're going to go and wrap things up this week here. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below and let us know, what did you think about Quest for Lost Powers, and what do you think about these screenshots for the upcoming Ninjago series? Thank you so very much. If you're interested in the content here and want to keep listening, make sure to subscribe to keep the peace and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on any new and exciting videos that we release. Additionally, if you're interested in continuing the conversation, head on over to the TTV message boards at board.ttvchannel.com. You need to be 13 years or older and follow the rules, and you'll have a good time. Finally, if you're interested in supporting us further, consider our Patreon at patreon.com/TTVchannel. For as low as $1 a month, you can be a part of our TTV Patreon Discord server, where you can be part of the live audience here on Discord and talk to us directly. That's about everything. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. That's right, everyone. The dojo is now closing. Thank you once again so much for listening and for continuing to be a part of our practices. This has been NinJAGOcast. We have been the Masters of Podjitsu, and I have been your sensei, LJ.
I've been Sakota.
Been Josh.
And I've been dead.
And we are closing the doors. You don't have to go home, but you cannot stay here. But you should probably go home. It's getting late. In any case, once again, thank you all so very much, and we'll see you all next time. Farewell.